Welcome back. This is episode 18 of the Golf Performance Group podcast. You've got one of your hosts, LeBron Palmer, and
JJ Wood.
And we've got a special guest in today. And I say special because one, I was able to model for him as well.
Yeah.
Like I was actually able to model do some video work. And for whatever reason, they haven't asked me back. So maybe I was that bad of a model. If you would like to introduce our special guest today, that would be great.
Okay, well, we got Andy Hydorn. We first met through a Facebook creeper guy, golf analyst, I guess. The guy was bashing me, and Andy came in and started sticking up for me. So we've been
But
good
you
friends.
may have deserved to be bashed, though.
Not on this.
Not in this case. Okay.
This was
All right.
other
cases maybe.
Yeah. So this guy, he was like a professor at Princeton.
Yep.
I don't even know. He sits in a lab and analyzes stuff, but he claimed to be the coach to the coaches, right? So he's like 80 years old in New York City.
Is he really the coach to the coaches, though?
Self-proclaimed. He bashed
He bashed his way to the top to
Yeah.
get in touch with the big, what do you call it, influencers in golf, like Brandel Chambly, George Gankis,
Oh, wow.
by bashing them,
Okay.
and then they start paying attention. So
Okay.
it's one method, I guess, to become popular.
How can we do that in the podcast? Well, I'll let you finish your introduction, then we'll go on
Yeah,
to
so he's our club champion here at Northgate.
which
Fitness
we're
Club.
going to get into this whole club champion thing.
And if there was a couples league, champions, we would do that. So we met, through that Facebook stuff, and then he is a part of a company called Ikonik, which just released the app for virtual golf coaching training. And he came down to Wildcat a few years ago, and we had a similar vision for, how you could help people online. They don't have to come in for a lesson. So ever since then, we became friends, and then I moved out here a year ago. He joined about a year ago. So it was just ironic. Then we started working on it, and here we are.
Well, welcome, Andy, to the podcast. Anything you want to get started with before we jump into some topics? Maybe, is that a believable backstory? Should he really have been in trouble with the guy who's the coaches of coaches? Because I think JJ thinks he's the coaches of coaches also. So thoughts on that just in general?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me firstly here. But yeah, his story's pretty good, and it's pretty real, and we definitely bonded over this Jeff Martin guy.
I'm working on not cutting people off, but I gotta say one more thing after you said that.
No.
So I remember we're on the 15th green because every girl I date thinks I'm a know-it-all. So
this is the couples championship, right?
No. This is us just playing the money game
Okay.
on Friday. We're on 15 green on the cart path, like going to the green, and he says, "You know what I like about you? When you don't know something, you say you don't know." And I tell my girlfriend that all the time.
Wait, hold on.
I was like, if I'm saying it, I know.
She says he never said that.
He definitely thinks he knows that. We know that.
I
for a
have
fact.
theories when it comes to COVID and stuff, but I don't know, and I'll say I don't know.
That is
But I
fair.
have
That is
theories.
fair. So let's just let's start with a little bit about Ikonik, and we'll go back to it because we want to do a full discussion as well. But just maybe give us the initial idea, where it came from, and why you think it fits with what's happening now with the golf landscape.
Yeah, so I'll bridge the gap with JJ too, with Ikonik as well, because as we were meeting the first time, my job is to meet with as many coaches as I can talk to and get in front of, and because we're promoting, a product that's really something that a golf coach really needs to understand the process, right? And when I went and sat down with JJ at Wildcat, it was clear that he was one of the few coaches who really had this stuff down in his head, right? Now, he also was trying to implement his practices and theories through all sorts of different, modes, like using paper and using a website and using all
multiple platforms.
Right. So we definitely saw the world of golf coaching eye to eye at that point. And to expand a little bit more on what Ikonik is a training platform for coaches. So, one of our major things is that you know, just taking 1 hour golf lessons is something that's not the best idea for the student, and it's certainly not the best idea for the coach.
Completely.
So,
Yeah.
you know, if we can come up with a process that allows a student to have a better chance at improving, and have a coach be able to implement a training plan for his students and not have to be a prisoner to long, you know, 12, 14-hour days in the sun on the range. That was kind of how we developed Ikonik.
Okay, okay. So maybe from both your perspective, do you consider it being beneficial, just as beneficial for the coach as it is for the student as well?
Well, yeah, because as a coach, I mean, the PGA of America, when I got in the industry 10 years ago, it trained us to 1 hour private lessons, and you ring up $100, you know, every 1 hour, but you run out of time, right?
Yeah.
And then my beliefs with my experiences from a performance coach and being around great coaches was, you know, you don't, I mean, the private lessons like 10% of the equation to become a great player. So one, you can, if you're a coach and you want to grow your revenue, you can help more people in a small group setting or online. That's what I like to do, because you can get them competing, then prescribe them drills, you know, online that are very elementary, and you can put together a simple 1-minute video with some key points like Andy did. And, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory. I think everybody's looking for a secret out there, and really, I mean, you get confused watching those YouTube videos because golf instructors, you know, don't all see it this way too, but they're always trying to outdo the other golf instructor with some new theory. But we can test everything now with all our technology, and it all kind of came full circle with me, like back to the fundamentals, you know. So, and you know, tour pros, when I've been side by side with tour pros watching them practice, their attention to detail and fundamentals and the simple things is, I've never seen anything like it. I wish I had that attention span to do it, but then I have, you know, I was telling a story yesterday about the worst student I ever had, that we got in a 30-minute argument over ball position. He didn't see how it translated to him wanting to tilt back because his ball position was back. And, you know, if you put it on TrackMan, I mean, just one ball width off is like 3 or 4 degrees of path direction and club face direction. And so a lot of those things you can, and then, you know, they went way further. I think there's, you know, we built our total 500 videos you put together.
Okay, yeah, so that's a good question. So, Andy, what kind of detail would people anticipate being able to use this platform? Is it all coach driven, or is there some standard things that you all have in a part of the platform that people can jump right into and start using?
Yeah, that's a great question. We're a tool.
Okay.
Right? We're a tool for the coach. We built our platform, and it's on a mobile app. But we built it for the coach, right? But I think the important thing really to understand is we've tried to put some process to the whole thing. And in our opinion, there's this concept called process training, right? So process training is simply, there's 4 elements to it. There's test.
Okay.
So you do the official first test, so you create a benchmark. The second part of it is teach. So that's what all coaches do now anyway, they teach. But the problem is that most coaches just teach.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Definitely.
So
you jump right into teaching people.
Exactly. So then the third step is train. And a coach can't make a student train. The student has to train on their own.
Okay.
So if the coach is teaching in that second step something that's new to a student, the student has to train those movements to be able to actually start to change and become better, right? And finally, the last part of the process training circle is to retest. So the whole idea, again, is test, teach, train, and retest. Well, the benefit to the student is that that's the best way to learn to do anything, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hands down, that's the best way to do it. For the coach now still is involved in the testing. He or she can help the student with the testing. They certainly are absolutely involved in the teaching part, but the training is really on the student.
So there's so it sounds like there's built-in accountability to
and that's what I like about it too. Like, so funny story to liven this podcast up. Andy
Is it not
has,
live enough
No,
yet?
this is definitely, we're good,
I
go.
would say, and we'll send this to Donnie Dar at Oklahoma State, but Donnie Dar and Andy Hydorn have the two worst chipping hips cases I've ever seen.
Wait, okay, let's
And
explain.
Donnie
Let's-
just,
I want- do
but
you really
I have to give it to Andy. He's
Do I
out
really
there.
have?
Yes.
Every time I peek out that window, I most often find Andy over on that green right there working on his chipping.
No
But
full
Donnie,
swings.
Donnie just said,
I
I'm a
think my
great.
fair share of full
You know,
swings.
Donnie just likes to show people his putting because he's a great putter. He just doesn't even grab a wedge,
Nah.
and he doesn't play. He doesn't have to.
Now, Andy, what's your background with golf? Like, what made you think this is a project I want to be involved in? Are you just a golf enthusiast? Were you ever trying to play? What's your kind of background with golf?
I'll give you my short story in golf, right? So I was into all sports as a kid, right? And I remember caddying for my
Basketball.
Okay.
dad. Yeah, basketball, baseball, hockey. I mean, I played everything.
Nice.
But I remember caddying for my dad, and we would four caddy, so we'd stand out there, and they'd be back 200 yards on the tee, and they'd hit their drives, and we'd watch these balls go soaring up, rising up, because the old Bellotto balls used to start out low, spin, and rise, right? It was the coolest looking thing I ever
Okay.
saw. So
Okay.
I'm like,
How old were you?
11, I think, at that point.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm in. I'm trying this game.
Yeah.
It is the coolest looking thing. So, long story short, I fell in love with it. Played in college
Okay.
for University of South Florida. Was never
In
really
Jacksonville?
in Tampa.
Tampa. Okay.
USF.
Okay.
Was never really good enough to play like JJ or anything like that. So I continue to play
Because
You
I'm
know-
great. That's why I'm here right now.
throughout my career, amateur golf. And,
Yeah.
and I love it.
Okay.
He's a what you call a professional amateur. They travel around, play all those.
Yeah, so you get to play all the
Well,
great
yeah,
events,
that's-
the great courses.
That's total BS.
Nah, come on.
No, but you should be.
I should be a
Why?
professional. That's what I should be.
You were a member of Champions. Have you ever played Champions Cup?
I played Champions Cup a couple times.
Because like Gary Durbin, he's a professional amateur. What's the guy from Pepperdine won the U.S. Mid-Am?
Kevin Marsh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
professional amateur.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of professional amateurs. I mean, yeah.
That
So
really-
they
I
praise
aspire to
someone.
be a
That's what you
professional
want to be.
amateur.
Okay.
They praise them when they make it to the U.S. Open, but those guys play just as much golf as Rory.
Probably more.
Yeah,
Probably more.
Yeah, because they're not
Right.
celebrities. So they don't
Yeah,
have to-
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So maybe give us a little background then on, you mentioned that Ikonik is a tool, it's a platform. How have you all been handling the pandemic and kind of just the stop of, really golf activity? Has this been a benefit with what's been going on, people looking for online resources, virtual resources, et cetera?
Yeah, so the concept of Ikonik has been around for a long time.
Okay,
Just recently, within the last year, we had some investors come on board who are the people that own the LA Dodgers.
okay, okay.
So, great connections, the whole synergy of what they bring to the table is awesome for us. But one of the things that they wanted us to do in the beginning is rebuild our software platform
course.
and make it a mobile first thing. So we spent the last, I would say, 12 months really doing that. We just launched a little over a month ago.
Yeah. Yep.
So as far as your question about the pandemic, we are in the spotlight during the pandemic.
Which
because-
makes sense,
Yeah,
yeah.
because we're a solution for coaches to be able to help their students remotely, right?
Yeah.
And still be part of the process with them.
Yeah.
We're not a library where students can get a membership and go browse willy-nilly all the content in the world of golf instruction, right?
Yeah, when
That's
I
not
was,
what we did.
I was telling a player, and I knew that would be important, but I didn't realize it until I was telling players, and I say 500 videos, they're like, well, where do I start? And I'm like, no, you won't see any videos. I just have 500 to choose from.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And then you don't
Yeah.
see anything until I prescribe you,
Right.
Makes sense. No, that makes complete. One of the things that I'm frustrated as a non-professional amateur, when you've, outside of what I've done with you all, when you've attempted to get help before, you go to YouTube and there's 10,000 golf videos. There's people who say, no, you should be doing this, swing inside out, swing outside in. You want to be you can be over the top. Move your head. Oh, your hips shouldn't sway. You should, like, all different, pieces of, you can never narrow it down.
Oh, speaking of which, I have a solution for he has an ankle injury from basketball. And so then he had his ankle replaced. I guess.
I mean, so we're just gonna tell all his business right now.
Well, there's golfers with injuries out there, so
Yes,
there's
and I have
different,
qualms
there's
in it,
different
yes.
ways to swing, and you gotta build a swing around your
You do.
limitations.
You do.
Or
You
your
definitely do.
body, so, I was watching Mike Adams, you know, 'cause I'm all about his
Right.
arm measuring
Right,
now.
right.
So, he did a
That's cool
test
stuff.
with Aaron Baddeley, did I tell you that?
No.
And so, he was swinging 109 miles an hour with his driver when he came in.
Oh, I read that.
And
then
then
he got him up to
119,
117. or something,
117,
right?
119. So he had him hit in only one. I had my first guy. I've been doing it for a week now, testing people. First guy yesterday was the same speed when he had his feet together, or versus when he was left leg only. So everyone else was left leg only, and so we're talking about your right ankle and your right hander. Can't sometimes don't get off your right side and chunk hook it or whatever.
Yeah.
So if you were to feel more, like I was saying, hit knockdowns, wedges more, it's basically that, staying left,
Right.
and then you won't like chunk it as much,
Right.
hook as much.
Nice. So now where can people find information about Ikonik? Website, Instagram, what's the best way for people to find
All of the above.
Okay.
But
And spell that again for people, because you know.
Iconic is spelled
With a K.
K.
Yeah,
It's
that's
2
important.
Ks.
That
So
is
it's
important.
Ikonik.
Okay.
So yeah, they can go to Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and certainly our website, iconicgolf.com. But most important to know is that Ikonik is really a coach tool, right?
Yeah.
So
They could tell their coach
They can
about
tell their
it.
coach,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Because the coach, they cater to the coaches, and the coaches can use it.
That's what we encourage
To
people.
help their
So
students.
any listeners out there, of course, we probably have a good mix of people, but I would
We're
say.
really popular in Australia.
We-
because they're
Australia,
all
we-
about
yeah.
the process
We
down
definitely
there.
have
That's where my
Australia.
mentors are from.
So, anyone listening out there, I would say encourage. I've seen the platform, of course. I work with.
He's a poster child.
Well, I mean,
At the PGA show, you were on repeat.
the
whole time.
problem is, you know, no one has invited me back for more modeling, so obviously it didn't work as well as they probably thought
Because
it
you're
would.
so good. We have so many images.
we made one video for you, okay, and you were the star of the video.
Yeah.
But-
I was like, why am I not in this?
I mean,
PGA show?
We have not replaced you.
I mean,
I walked in for about 2 seconds and adjusted your hand.
Yeah.
And then it was all you.
But I do encourage any of you amateurs or people aspiring to be pros to give this information to your coach, give this information to your trainer. All information is useful, especially as we're in this space now where virtual matters. You know, being able to work with individuals, because you can do this across states, you can do this across different places. You could have a player that's going to play an event. There's information that you can share. This platform is a catch-all for all that. So I appreciate Andy being able to share that detail with us today.
Yeah.
So let's get into a little golf stuff.
Well,
And then,
we also need to get some people on this 45-day short game.
yeah, we're going to get to that. We're gonna get to
Who
that.
wants to
Oh,
work on their short game?
I'm going to hold that. Andy definitely does. You say chips all
That's
day
why
out
he's
there.
great. Well, Andy, I'll just set him up with a meditation plan.
Well, and we'll get to that at the end. We'll get to that at the end. I want to talk about, just in general, we've talked about the impact over the last 6 episodes. JJ and I have really been harping on, all right, when does golf come back? What does it look like? We had the 2, I would call them silly events. The event with, was it Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson, Matt Wolf, and Ricky.
Yeah.
And then somehow Matt Wolf and Ricky lost on the final hole through a measurement that no one even went out there and measured. Like, I mean, that wasn't real. And then we had the match where I complained that Tom Brady, there's no way he's a 6 handicap. The way that he looked. I mean, there's no way. he is.
Yeah, but I
Dude,
told him.
Tom Brady is God. So
No.
We failed to mention he's from Boston.
Oh, that's even worse. Yeah.
Who is worse, Boston or New York fans?
Oh, Boston by far. So
Thank you very
I
much.
listened to Bill Simmons and the Boston fans. You all are atrocious when it comes to, but you represent your city, your teams like no other.
Don't be stereotyping us.
Yeah.
I'm a Cowboys fan.
We are
so
not all
Oh,
the same.
they're
I'm a
terrible
Cowboys
too.
fan. I'm a Cowboys fan, so I know we're terrible also.
Yeah.
But the problem with Tom Brady, we've talked about this before, and I'll get your opinion since you're here. There's no way he's a 6 handicap. I don't even care how bright the lights are.
I think he is.
No
I think that
way.
people don't realize when you get. I mean, he's okay. Yeah, he's a great athlete, been under pressure a lot. But when you're playing a sport that's not your sport,
But-
and you're on TV
Come
with
on,
Tiger
man.
Woods, under like everyone in the world's watching.
Awful weather.
Awful weather. I
and
did
you have no
that.
tournament experience. I mean, he could have played in a golf or what's your medalist golf league
Right.
tournament, and he would have been crapping his pants because you
Yeah.
start thinking things you never thought before.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
but a 6, I would say a
You
guy
can
that's
tell with his
you know what,
swing, it's
though?
pretty good.
I mean, his swing is really good, I think.
Yeah,
At
well,
least
of course,
it appears.
At least it appears.
He's
He
a
appears to
perfect
be.
person.
But he is a perfect.
No, he's not. He's
But
in Tampa now, so
but-
let's chunk it.
He's still perfect. So is Belichick.
Oh, what
Oh,
an idiot! Let's go.
No, but seriously, I think it begs the bigger question of there's such a vast difference between, you know, a tournament handicap and a club handicap. Right?
Okay, that's fair.
So
That's fair.
if
Yeah.
you're out there playing with your friends and doing whatever and
Having a few beers.
having a few beers
Yeah.
and being relaxed and playing golf, he's got, like JJ said, he's got a good golf swing, and I
He's
absolutely,
taking lessons.
Yeah.
But see, it still didn't matter under the pressure.
Yeah.
But when you turn it into, you know, the bright lights
Yeah.
and all that other
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
it's an entirely different thing. I think everybody melts the first few times under the lights.
So you think if he did this 10 times, on the 10th time, he
Well,
would-
I
he
was
would
saying
play?
like, you know,
Or maybe
Peyton's been
100.
retired 5 years, so he's been playing celebrity stuff. He's,
Yes,
you know,
everybody
and he
probably
composed himself a lot better, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I tell like junior golfers I want to play in college, like go play these Beltway Tour events for $30 and have to score your golf ball. I mean, I get more nervous when I'm playing in a money game with members than I do if I'm just going with my buddy that's a 20 handicap comes
Yeah,
out and
yeah,
sits
yeah.
around.
That makes
Because
sense.
something people are going to know what you shoot. You know,
There's
you know?
stepped up levels of anxiety.
Yeah,
No, I
you know?
agree.
and that's
I
why I
agree.
say you got like do it here first, then do it on the range, then do it with your buddies, then sign up for a tournament.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
that makes sense.
Yep.
So we've got real golf starting tomorrow. So we're taping this on Wednesday. It probably won't go out till this Friday, but we've got real golf starting tomorrow. 16 of the top 20. This is the best field the Colonial's ever had. I mean, considering people haven't played golf in
It's
90
usually a
days.
pretty good field, though.
But not like this, though.
oh no,
I mean,
ever.
16
Well,
of
shoot, the
top 20.
Scottsdale Open has one of the best fields of the year.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm a gambler, so I want to get y'all first impressions. This is a running segment on the podcast. I think the winner going away will be Ryan Palmer. Ryan Palmer lives on the course.
What?
He lives on the course. He claims he shot 64 last Friday in the same conditions that they're going to be playing in.
Well,
no
do
fans,
it.
no tents,
Yeah,
no
but
anything.
he's scoring his ball and it's going on a leaderboard.
I think so. I'm picking Ryan Palmer. to
I'll
win.
take the field.
That's not fair. Clearly, I mean, but
I would say of all the events ever to pick a winner, this is the hardest, only because you have zero information leading up to this.
Ryan Palmer, that's the
Or people
information I got.
So he shot
Graham's
around
been on
with his buddies.
Instagram.
No, he said he played it in tournament conditions. That's his
So
area.
he probably is he a member there? I think
He's
might
a
be.
member there, that's what I'm
So he
saying.
probably had the maintenance crew set up
Yeah.
there.
So, but here's my card to all make the cut, and I have finished top 25. All right. So I've got Ricky Fowler. He just finished playing that silly event. I've got Taylor Gooch. I don't know if y'all know.
Yeah,
him. Oklahoma
So
State.
I didn't tell you about Taylor. I was his host.
There's JJ going
I
on.
know, right?
I was a 22-year-old finishing fifth-year senior at OU.
Yeah.
And Coach Monzingo was like, we got this really good kid coming in. And he was like 13, 7th or 8th grade. He was in junior high.
Okay.
And I had to show him around. I was like, what do I have in common with this guy? I'm 10 years older. But it turns out he's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's like, no, he's from Oklahoma and he's good.
He's a good player.
He's going to be real good.
And
I
I
was like, how
picked
do you know
him-
he's 12?
I picked him because of that fact. Like being in this region, he knows how to play golf in this region. I got Rory just because he's a flyer. I
Just
mean,
because he's
the best player.
the best player in
Yeah,
the
I
world.
mean,
He's
uh,
unbelievable.
and then I picked Matt Wolf because
He's
he just recently
unbelievable.
played.
When he
So I
gets
think I got
all
a good
like
card.
refined a little bit with his scoring clubs, like wedges and stuff, which he's already good, but when he gets a little like DJ, you know, when he had to work
Yeah,
on those.
yeah.
And he got really good.
He got really good.
Yeah,
He got
really
really
good.
good. So first impressions, what do y'all think of my 5? I think that's a good group.
Palmer, or not DJ.
Palmer,
Rory,
Wolf, Rory,
Taylor.
Fowler, and Taylor.
Fowler will be interesting because
He just played though.
Yeah, but one round of golf.
I got intel that Fowler hasn't been playing well.
Ah, I need to change it then.
You haven't seen, he wasn't playing well up, I mean, I don't know how he played in that
Well,
match.
I got some friends who are medalist members.
And seeing him play.
And one of my best friends, Scott Peters, owns
See, this is
some
the
golf.
insight that I need. This
Oh,
is
Oh, he got some good insight.
So this is a good story though. He's a member at the Medalist. He owns some golf stores up in New England. But so they were at the Medalist, I don't know, halfway through this whole COVID thing, right? And they pull up and Tiger's there, right? And they're just getting done playing. It's Tiger, it's Ricky, it's Justin Thomas, just the three of them.
Okay.
And they were just chit-chatting, and Tiger was being nice and friendly like he is to all the members of Medalist.
Is that
Which I
serious
think
or
is,
sarcastic?
no, it's a serious deal, and I think it's awesome. But anyway, they were busting on Ricky, like
They probably took some money
like
from
Justin Thomas and Tiger were saying, we got Ricky's money for like the 5th day in a row.
Oh man, I need to change that. Well, maybe he's out for revenge.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
could that be? Could
is
he
he
be out
just
for
having
revenge?
too much fun being married with his wife and not practicing, or?
I think a lot of guys probably struggle with this break. I think it. I mean,
Well, he was struggling before the break since his marriage, right?
Yeah,
I just think, and you know, like even like let's think about other sports. Like you know, the NBA is coming back. I can promise you, Zion Williams is going to be 380 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been eating beignets and
Yeah.
gumbo this entire time. I know for a fact he's not going to be in shape. So I can only imagine with golfers where you're supposed to be walking the course, out there getting ready to play. Those guys haven't been doing that. They
Yeah.
haven't been.
Well, more importantly, they're
I know who hasn't been doing anything is TJ. I bet he's just been partying. He's been catching up.
they're I mean just not being used to tournament
Yeah.
conditions. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why your picks. I love your picks, but
Who knows?
every one of those guys can miss the cut.
Not Ryan Palmer. If Ryan Palmer,
Now, if
because
this were a regular year where you got all these
normal
tournaments
events,
leading
yeah.
up to it, you'd never pick a guy
I would
who's
never
gonna
pick
miss
Ryan
the
Palmer.
cut.
Yeah, no.
Well, unless he's been playing well, right? So
You're
it's
right.
just hard to pick going into this.
He
event.
says golf is the easiest.
I think it's
thing
the easiest
bet
to bet
on.
on.
I think it would be the hardest.
No, because you get so much of a chasm. Like make the cut, matchups. You can pick a card.
Yeah,
I think
see,
it's
I
the
don't know
easiest.
that.
You know.
My brother nails it in DraftKings.
Yeah, I started
I mean,
doing DraftKings as well.
He
We'll talk about that
nails
also.
it. He
Yeah.
makes money a lot in his DraftKings picks.
Yeah, it's not difficult. So
Yeah.
let's kind of transition before we get out of here. Of course, we want to talk about the 45-day challenge, but let's just kind of give people some tips, like we usually do, on what you should be doing now. The golf world is opening back up. You can get to your course. You can get to the range. Everything isn't closed. What are some things that people should be doing, especially now? At least if you live in the South, Houston especially, it's getting hot. Like what should we be focusing on? What should we be doing as it relates to trying to make sure our games are in shape since we lost basically the entire spring?
Are you asking me or
Anyone.
Well, I would say, I mean, the process, like hopefully they've been working on the process indoors during COVID, but now that it's hot, you don't have to beat balls outside. You can, I think education too, like if they really pay attention,
That's
if
where
they
our
are
economy
on
comes into play.
the, if they are on the app, like, or ask their coach to get the app, and then, you know, with their main flaws, he can prescribe them, like, fixing a slice. All it is balancing out your fields, really. So try to hit big hooks and learn what causes a hook, what causes a slice. Rehearse that, but you can educate yourself. Jordan Spieth, actually, on the way here, I was listening to PGA Tour radio, and he's talking about him and Cameron, and he said, really, you know, he's getting back to, like, they were looking back at when he was playing well, and he's like, really, it's me educating myself on what I did when I was playing well.
Huh, okay.
And that's what I tell students. It's hard because people pay me hourly for a lesson, and then they go away when they're playing well, but then they come back when they're struggling again. And I was like, I
Yeah.
would like to see you when you're playing well, so
On a
we can
maintenance
write
basis.
down, yeah.
That makes
And-
sense. I didn't think about it. Maintenance is a good word.
And you want to remember what you were doing. There's Jordan right there, probably
Yeah.
talking about it again. But
You know, Andy, you brought up a good point, and JJ, that's good. Maintenance is a good word. Like that's a solid way to think about just your golf game. Like, hey, you want to keep it in tune
mhm.
the
Hey,
entire time.
when you're let's say working physical fitness stuff, right?
Yeah,
Do you only go when you get 20 pounds overweight?
not you gotta be
No.
accurate. Yeah,
You got it's same thing with golf. you gotta keep working and keep doing it. And I think, you know, for the COVID thing, I think for the PGA Tour guys as well as regular golfers, right? You know, for the people who want to work on something, want to change something, it's the perfect time.
I agree.
You know, if someone was struggling with their game on the PGA Tour going into the COVID, you know, layoff, it was a great opportunity to train, to work on some things so that they could change, right? Sometimes during the busyness of a full golf season, you don't have the opportunity to make changes.
You're right.
And,
You're right.
and train
You're right.
changes, right? And it's the same thing for us regular players too. I mean, you know, there are great times to try to improve and change and do those things, and this has been a good time to do that.
Okay, now, JJ had gotten me to the point where I have completely transformed my swing. And you would agree after this morning, seeing all the drills, because actually we used COVID.
His path was 1 degree left, but I mean, coming from like 7, 8 degree.
Yeah.
And his face, like, his face was matching up,
speed
but
was
his
still
swing.
115 or above.
Yeah, and he
so,
was swinging. I mean, but remember before your knee injury, so
I know.
you still got to work on your mental game. He on flight scope, which flight scope TrackMan a couple miles an hour different, but you were in the 130s.
Yeah, and I'll get back. I'll get back. So
Yeah, I was hitting. That's how we met. He came in for a
I'll
lesson,
get back.
and he was sitting on the bay next to me on the flight scope, but it was projecting on the TV, and I was hitting just like a game trainer probably. And it was like an explosion going on. And I look up and I just see his calves, and I'm like, oh my god.
And then now he rails on my
And I was
calves
like,
because I
"Goodbye."
heard this podcast just kind of came out of nowhere. One day I was like, hey, you know, I have a network that I do podcasts on. Let's do one.
I think I popped in here on your first podcast.
Probably so. Yeah, like one of our first
When
ones.
I was still working out the kinks.
Yeah, so, but to that, I think short game is probably the next, because you've seen me chip and putt. It's probably, so I'm excited about something you mentioned before we got started.
Well, and what people don't realize, when you work on short game pitch shots, like the basic stock pitch shot, it's a miniature golf swing, and less can go wrong. So you can really groove good
That
impact.
is not true.
Well,
Less
for
can
good
go
players,
wrong
I
is
get in
not
their head,
true.
it's a little different. But for like amateur, the most amateurs, they just come out, swing a 7-iron driver, but they have so many flaws, they get back to impact wrong. But if you can just work on pitch shots warming up every day, and work on keeping the arm swinging with the turn,
Yeah.
you're gonna groove good impact.
There's no more satisfying shot in golf than a well-struck pitch. Not because I have issues, but seriously, it's you know, the trajectory, the solidness of contact, all that stuff. I would get much more enjoyment out of hitting a great 80-yard pitch than I do hitting a good drive.
We gotta put him in a chip shot on the podcast, because
We can, yeah, we can do that.
it might be one of the funnier things.
Great.
that people
Now
see.
let's talk about this challenge. It's hosted by Ikonik,
Yes.
and it's through the Ikonik platform. I plan to be, you're offering me the
I
opportunity to do
invited
it.
you
Yes.
during this podcast.
Perfect. So what is that gonna look like for me, and then how can people follow along?
So we're doing the Ikonik 45-day
45 days.
short game challenge.
Okay,
Okay, so it's generally 6 weeks.
okay,
And it's based around that whole process training wheel, right?
Yes.
So the first thing that happens in the
Test.
challenge is the testing.
yes.
So
Then-
we create the benchmark,
Then teach.
and then we teach.
Okay,
And with the teaching, in each specific module comes training.
okay,
So there's teaching, training, throughout the next 4 weeks.
okay,
And then finally, in the last week, we retest. So the whole idea is that you establish your initial benchmark, and then you go through the teaching and training part, and then you retest at the end, and we want to see how many people improve.
Okay,
Because
nice,
in
nice.
the end, that's the holy grail of golf,
that is,
right?
that is what you wanna work on.
Right.
If you can get those 100, what would you say, 100 and in?
100 in, yeah. Well, yeah, that's like the score.
That's like the scoring clubs.
But what is the challenge?
The challenge is around chipping and pitching, so the short shots,
Okay,
and putting.
and putt, okay,
Yep.
okay.
So really, all a person needs is access to a chipping
Go
and
to a
pitching
local
green.
community and.
Yeah,
you
chipping
can
and
chip
pitching
them
green,
off for free.
and you know, have your own golf clubs and golf balls, and it's pretty simple.
Well, I'm at Wildcat, so I should be able to do that.
Yeah, you can
pretty
definitely do
regularly.
that. Any
Yep,
of the chipping areas at Wildcat, certainly.
Perfect, okay. So I'm eager to see, we'll have some information about that. I'll make sure it's in the show notes as well. And is this open for anyone, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, if any of the listeners out there want to get involved, we
Okay.
would love to have you. It's free of charge,
Okay.
so it's a full 6-week short game training
Yeah.
program, free.
Okay.
No cost to the customer, to the students. So, we certainly want to get some people on, and women, kids, men, doesn't matter. We'd love to have a good mix of different people.
Maybe this is something we could share with the Greater Houston golfers.
Yeah,
I'm sure there'll be people there who
and he's
listen
a
and follow
popular
us.
figure on there.
I'm a rebel rouser.
I can tell that today.
Yeah.
You would be. So anything that we want to leave the people with before we close this one out? Thank you again. Let's share the website again, how people can spell that. Make sure we spell it again with the two Ks.
Ikonik golf.com.
And that's at everywhere.
Yep.
Iconic on everything.
Yep.
Anything you want to leave anyone with, JJ, before we close out?
I pretty much told them focus on the process and
Yeah.
start to educate yourself on what you do and what the cause and effect is.
And I'm all in for Ryan Palmer. If you happen to listen to this, matter of fact, I'm going to figure out a way to get this to you. I need you to win this week, because I actually probably put in a little more than I should have. But I heard that story about him shooting 64, and that stuck with me.
Well,
So
That's all you got to go on now, right?
that's all I got.
There's
That's
not a whole
64.
lot.
Well, then hopefully Ricky's game turnaround.
I know. I think I'm gonna change Ricky after that intel that we
Watch,
got.
he's
you
gonna
know.
win. He's
And if he
gonna
wins,
A little medalist
Andy, I'm going to show up.
I have enough anxiety in life as it is. How do you deal with that anxiety of picking that stuff? I'd be going.
It's
nuts.
fun. That's the purpose of it. I mean, what else am I competing in right now?
That is the
You know,
purpose,
it's the
right.
purpose of it. So, and this has been episode 18 of the Golf Performance Group podcast.